But Rook Bandit. Today, I have a little bit of a detail I wanted to discuss. A bit of concern. Recently, D&D Beyond has dropped D&D Beyond Drops, and this comes not too long after I released a video about a different content from a bunch of comments that I had some concerns about. With D&D Beyond Drops, it is a membership incentive that gives you free adventures on a weekly basis, as well as on a monthly basis, free like player options, monsters, backgrounds, and all those kinds of good free treats. The thing though is because it is a membership incentive, it is not charity using the master tier. So for someone who runs a D&D server like myself and is trying to take on most of the load of content, then this becomes a little bit of an issue, as it means that only people who have an active subscription are able to they're able to gain benefits of these contents, and those who do not have an active subscription, for some reason or another, do not have access to this content. It creates a bit of an unfair bias where some people are going to gradually get more and more content choice, whereas the others are left out. On top of that, this also means that on a monthly basis, some and more content which might be faster. I've stated some concerns recently where they had produced in the new villainous options some options that kind of step on the toes of third-party content makers, not very well. Studios or Ghostfire Games. Sorry about the mistake there. Their villainous options are kind of directly a similar thing, although less good because it takes ASIs rather than be something that you can gain as an optional rule than the monster's transformations. Now we're going to have monthly production, and the UA has been rather hit with this for the last couple of years. So you're expecting people to gain a decent amount of content on a routine basis. I'm worried that it might water down the system. On top of creating this unfairness where, like with certain video games, those who subscribe gain inherently more benefits than those who play on the free-to-play mode. But the thing is, this game isn't free-to-play. We already have to buy any of the source books in order to play it. And one could argue that they have given out a very basic version of the 2024 5.5 rules for free, although this contains typically a single race and a single subclass of each of the classes. The problem here is with this shift to almost a more video game-like system, that means we're going to see it rampant growth, but probably a decrease in quality, which is the exact opposite of what most people in their recent view has tried to push for. We want some of the old Wizards of the Coast where quality was key. But what we're getting is not that. Instead, we're getting seasonal passes and like subscriber bonuses, and a little too here. As I stated in my previous video, the only thing that was really sustaining and I love the D&D part of the TTRPG hobby is the fact that third-party creators are putting all their best efforts into making passionate and detailed, balanced products. The content that comes out of third-party creators like Ghostfire Games and Mage Hand Press the many creators that you can now potentially find on D&D Beyond are probably some of the most spirited renditions of content that I've seen in a while. But at the same time, the UAs are hinting that Wizards of the Coast is not about stepping on the toes of content that they have acquired rights to. Wizards of the Coast being a small percentage of every purchase. I think it's like 30% of each sale put on the D&D Beyond. Whereas now they are undermining that very contract by creating stuff that is similar or having a routine update where they might have to create content that is similar to what they've already acquired. I just really don't like this direction. Sure, I might be talking a little bit into the wind here, but as somebody who is trying to get into the third-party content business, I would be rather upset if some of the content that I shared to the community was then reprinted by the official source. And this is something that we also fought against in the oh, sorry, memory slipped for a moment there. But there was the whole OGL scandal, where one of the things in the contract is that the Coast was free to just use whatever they created using their license, and you couldn't really complain. And I understand that there is a similar policy in Darrington versus gaming license. It's still, it kind of shocks me, and that we fought against this, and here we are seeing it being implemented in real time. Not only is Wizards of the Coast gaining far more than I think the license that's to take, even in usage rights and such, they are also stepping on the toes of the content that's been made and sold on their platform. So this means if I was to create something like Orc Mage, subclass like Orc Mage, and then they come out and say create a Orc, we get an Orc Wizard subclass or something like that. They're the official provider, so their products are going to see the most traffic. And those who make similar products are going to have a little bit of a slowdown in traffic. Only really the people who appreciate the company, if you have no variety, are willing to look at it. If you're small time and just trying to get started in the market, that means you might get overlooked entirely. Just worried that the future direction of Wizards of the Coast is going to be increasingly soulless. It's going to be kind of like a Fortnite-esque weekly print of new content that is just rip-offs of other things. They're like incorporating more and more different franchises. One of the recent things that they shared was TED. I get that there was elements from Dungeons and Dragons in the TED fandom, but what I'm seeing is more and more we are going to have quality be a little bit more subjective, while content being pushed rapid and increasing pace is going to be the focus. I have to know that I'm kind of rambling here. I hope you can follow my concerns. And I know that I haven't exactly presented some of the information that I have talked about. It is available on the internet. I might do a second recording of this video and present these facts. But in this case, it's just trying to do some examples and share my thoughts. And given that I've run a Westmarch server, I run a Westmarch server and I try to be fair-minded about it. And in this case, we now have content that some are going to be able to access, but some are not. And the debate then becomes, do I allow people who are paying good money to use what they're getting for their monthly subscription? Or do I cater to those who might be in a bit more of a financial alert spot? And then the monthly content, which will slowly but surely add up. These are things that I have to consider as a server owner, and I'm going to also take a look at the content that is being produced in DNDBeyond Drops as I make my own third-party content. If anything that I am making is similar, I would have to redesign things that I'm currently making. Like it's not without, it's not without notice that Griffin Saddleback had to redraft their 5.5 dance board as the God of Choreography, because that was what the Wizards of the Coast produced. They produced their own dance board. And Book 1 was long before the 5.5 release. Now, admittedly, dance is a more common title, but if there are core concepts in my own setting books that tread upon by Wizards of the Coast, and now have to debate whether I release it anyway, or produce something else to catch the attention of those who support this hobby. It has been a pleasure. The name is Shagar, the Half-Orc Bandit, and thank you for listening to my rambles. I am going to be producing content like I was before, with older stories and the like, and I am still trying to use some tier lists based on third-party content. I just am trying to currently work the little tier list app that most other creators are working.